Hello everyone, it's Stamp Ventures with Shauna, Stampin' Up! Independent Demonstrator from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada. Welcome, welcome. I'm live here on, it's Tuesday, July 20th. I'm so glad that our devices have the date on them because keeping track, well, in the summertime especially, it seems hard to remember what day it is or what day of the week. So it's the 20th and it's about 9:02 p.m., something like that, which is Mountain Time / Saskatchewan time. And I'd like to welcome you all to my video. I'm going to be doing 3 versions of a fun card today. It's called Buy the Shoes, Drink the Coffee, and Rock and Roll. So each card will touch on one of those subjects. And this is my version of the mystery card that the mystery card challenge that I posted earlier this week. I guess I posted it yesterday. I took all the pictures for the pieces on Sunday and I made my little poster and had it all ready to go. And then as I'm laying in bed Sunday night, I'm like, I don't think I posted that to Facebook. And it gets posted over on my Stamp Ventures VIP group. So if you're not part of my group and you'd like to join along in these creative challenges, just request to join Stamp Ventures VIP, and you can make some cards with my friends and I, and challenge yourself. Use some of that paper and some of those stamps that you've got in hand, and enjoy and play with it. Oh, hey Emmy, good to see you again. All right. Just before we get started, I think the only announcement that I can think of for today is that the Designer Series paper sale is still on. So there's a selection of, I think, 9 different Designer Series papers that are 15% off. There's no minimum amount that you have to order. You can order just 1 pack and it's 15% off, or you can order all 9 packages and they are 15% off. And I am doing a paper share with 8 of the packages. So if you want to get a quarter of a package of each of those designer papers, message me and let me know you want in on the share. I think it's like $33 Canadian. I need to add $5 in there if you're from out of town, but I thought we might as well get the paper while it's on sale. The reason we're only going to be getting 8 of the different kinds of paper is that there's 1 package of paper that's returning from the catalog last year, and it was in a share last year, so I am omitting that one, but all the others will be included. So yeah, paper sale is on, and on August 3rd, the July through December holiday mini catalog and the summertime celebration brochure are going to be going live. And if you don't have copies of those brochures and books, let me know. I can get you copies if you're here in Canada. Just give me a shout. And yeah, I can send those off to you, or if you're in the Moose Jaw area, you can pick up here from my place. Hello Pam, nice to see you again. I guess it's 2 days in a row that I'm doing a video, which yeah, it seems like it's been busy lately and I hadn't been able to get to my stamping for a bit in there, but I think I'm back on track, well, at least for the early part of this week. Towards the end of the week, we're going to be having some family coming from out of town, so I have this feeling I'll probably be missing in action from the stamping scene later on in the week. So, but this is good. I'm able to get to my tutorial and do my routine at this part of the week. Okay, gonna turn the camera around. We're gonna get started with the stamping. If you have any questions as we go along, give a shout, say hello if you're just joining on. We always like to say hi and see you there. And if you're from somewhere new, if you haven't joined before, welcome, welcome. And I hope you learn some tips and information, and maybe this will get you pulling out some of your supplies that you've got on hand. What I show with the cards today are just suggestions you'll be able to do this idea with lots of different stamp sets. I'm going to show you with just 3 different ideas here. And the ladies who participated in my challenge on my VIP group, they have some wonderful ideas there too. And I was just amazed at the ideas that they came up with using these basic same pieces of paper. So you should check them out because you will be inspired by them. Okay, here we go. I'm going to turn the camera down and get you get the view situated so you can see what's going on with my hands and my stamping. Hello, Sue. Hello to a few more who have hopped on. There we go. I was purposely covering up the camera lens so I didn't make you sick as I turned the camera around. I think we're sort of pretty much focused there on my workspace now. Lots of you know that I love to read, so when I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to use that for one of my funnies. What am I reading right now? Currently, I have to think about this. I am reading a book by a Saskatchewan author. Her name is Connie Galt, and I absolutely love her writing. She's a delicious writer. Not that she writes about food or anything. I just love how she puts her words together, and it's just wonderful how she uses language. And she's a Saskatchewan writer, and I've read one other book of hers before. It was called A Beauty, and she just did such an amazing task of describing Saskatchewan during the Dirty 30s and weaving a story around it. And now I'm reading her book called Euphoria. So when I'm finished, I'll give you a review. Yeah, don't worry. I won't let you go without hearing how I think about it at the end. But that's what I'm reading right now. And hopefully I'm going to get a few books done read this summer. But man, it seems like I'm such a slow reader there. Because I spend too much time stamping. I have 2 things that I love. I have lots of things I like to do. But okay, so this was the card that inspired Mystery Card Monday this week. This is on page 43 of the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog for 2021-2022. And I just thought this was such a easy to do, happy layout. And my layouts are not completely done. I've done some stamping and I'm just going to finish them off and stick them together. And you can see my variations and compare and see what you think compared to what Stampin' Up! Has shown us here on page 43. Now, here's a confession. I do not have this stamp set in punch. And a lot of other demonstrators out there will be like, whoa, Shauna, that's radical, because I have seen so many cool things made and done with this punch. In fact, I just got a card in the mail last week. Hang on, I gotta go grab it because it's from a demonstrator that many of you know. Have any of you ever heard of Jackie Bulche? She's from Ontario. Give me a thumbs up in the comments or a yup if you've heard of Jackie. I'm just gonna grab the card. Oh, I'm seeing lots and lots of thumbs. Yes, you've heard of Jackie. She's amazing. Well, she sent me this lovely card in the mail. Isn't that cute? And then, well, I don't think she used the strawberry punch because she fussy cut those strawberries out of the paper. But then, paper here and more paper here. And it's, and more paper. One of these flip, flop and then tuck it in underneath the Just For You. And she used some of the new little flowering flourishes, and just thought that was so cute. Yeah, and there she is, Jackie Bulche, the Pampered Stamper. I was just so tickled to receive that in the mail. That was so lovely of you. So I know lots and lots of demonstrators have this bundle, and for some reason I just decided not to get it, but yeah, you still have, if you do have it, there's lots of inspiration out there, and this is just one of the ideas. So I'm going to get started with my first card, and the first card is all about buy the shoes. So when I was making the shoes for my card, yeah, she makes beautiful cards. Oh yeah, she's in Canada, Pam. Yeah, except that she now has a fiance in the Netherlands. So she has like a demonstratorship in Canada and the Netherlands. So when she goes to visit her fiance, she can be a demonstrator there too. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So when I first was working on this card, I made like 3 shoes, all colored with Calypso Coral. Well, the inside of these 2 shoes I had colored with the light Calypso Coral Stampin' Blends, and then the darker on the other side. And then I'm like, wait a minute. If life is short and you have to buy the shoes, you don't buy every pair all the same color. You gotta have fun. So then I did some Calypso Coral stilettos, and I did some Fresh Freesia stilettos, and some polished pink stilettos. And the coloring of the heel and the insole of the shoe, I just used the light basic black Stampin' Blend. If you haven't looked at the Stampin' Blend colors, you might be surprised to know that with the basic black, there is a dark Stampin' Blend and there is a light. And I used the light Stampin' Blend so that you can kind of sort of see a little bit of the, in real life anyways, you can see a little bit of the detail of the squared off corner of the heel coming down. And I'm going to quickly finish cutting these out with the Baby Boss. These are just little guys, so they'll fit through here easily. And I'll finish this first card for you. The other cards, I've already got the pieces cut out, so it won't take me long to show you those. So I just need this, the die cutting, use with thin dies. I always have to make sure with this little one that I'm using the right plates and platforms. So that's the platform, and there's the 2 cutting plates. You can see this one is scratchier, so I'm going to put my blade down on that one. I'm going to use this one for the top. And okay, ooh, yeah, that will fit there. Now, I'm going to get this lined up, and we don't have a magnetic plate for the Baby Boss, but thankfully I do happen to have some sticky notes, so that's going to hold it in place for me. I'm going to fold that over a bit, so hopefully that will cut out fairly closely. And I mean, the shoe would not be very difficult to cut, but that stiletto heel is a little bit skinny and that would be a little bit fussier than I would care to fussy cut with. So yeah, that sticky note held the die nicely in place. I think I'm just gonna cut a little bit of this excess off there. Just cut that away, so then I can put the Fresh Freesia shoe closer to the middle. And here we go again. Repeat. Hello to those of you who have just hopped on. We're on card number 1, which is buy the shoes. After we buy the shoes, we're going to drink the coffee, and then we're going to rock and roll. Okay. Now, when I go back and I look at these shoes that I colored to begin with, and I did the darker of the Stampin' Blends on the outside and the lighter on the inside, I kind of like that. I'm kind of wishing maybe I had done that with these ones. But yeah, something for you to keep in mind if you're wanting to do a card like this. So this is the coordinating die that comes, one of the coordinating dies that comes with the Dressed to Impress stamp set. And there's the saying, life is short by the shoes. And of course you need the shoes in every color. Because what did they say? As Dorothy says, a new pair of shoes can change your world. Okay, I better put this die away just so it doesn't get lost there. I'm going to stick it back in there. This is all the dies that come with the set. There's the one that cuts out the lipstick. And then this little, or this big die cuts out a little backpack or a purse. There's lots of little neat little pieces. There's buckles for the purse. Cool things that go with this. All right. So now, for the card challenge, we have just a standard card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I've got designer paper that's 5.5 inches long and 2 inches wide. And then there's a strip, a contrasting strip of cardstock. I made mine 3/4 of an inch wide, and of course it's still the 5.5 inches long. You wouldn't have to make it 3/4 of an inch wide. You could make it narrower if you're just using up some of your scraps. Like, you know, I have a strip that's just a scrap. You could, you know, use up something narrower. But I thought that for me, the 3/4 of an inch was nice to work with, because I just put, I put adhesive on the edge of the designer paper, and then I would have laid the designer paper down along that 3/4 inch strip, just like that, so that just a little peek of it is showing, and you get a nice contrast there. You can definitely use a wider piece too. And now some of the ladies who participated in my card challenge, they had their card or their strip of designer paper, you know, in different spots on the card. And I'm just going to be like boring and and just do exactly what they've shown in page 43 of the annual catalog. And I'll just put my designer paper right along the spine of the card there. And I think, yeah, my designer paper is just a little bit longer than my card base. So I'm going to turn this upside down and grab my snips to trim that excess off. Hello to those of you who hopped on. Thanks for saying hi. Oh yeah, this is the live Karen. I know sometimes it's live and sometimes it's recorded, and yeah, sometimes people think it's live but it's really recorded. And hello Inez, and hello Glenda. Okay, now the other thing they had, so this piece that the greeting is going onto is 2.5 inches wide and 1 inch tall. And in the catalog, they had a little piece of cardstock just tucked behind that. And so I'm going to grab my paper trimmer, because I've just got a scrap of Calypso Coral here. And the cardstock layer they had tucked behind. Normally, like you know, you get into a pattern and a routine where you have your piece of paper, and then you make your next layer 1/4 of an inch larger. And this, what they did with this card is something different. They made it smaller. So I'm just gonna do like the catalogs does, because it's, you know, taking me out of my comfort zone, trying something new. So I'm cutting a piece that's a half inch wide, just for my scraps, and I'm making it so that it's 2 3/4 inch long. So, and my my measurements might be just slightly different from the catalog measurements, but they're fairly close. It's pretty close to the idea of how they've done it in the catalog. Okay, now we need to line up the shoes. And I'm thinking, well, we've got a polished pink shoe here. And the colors that I picked for the shoes are just all in this designer paper. This is the Pansy Petals designer paper. And this is one of the packages of paper that's 15% off. I think I'm gonna go with the Fresh Freesia Stiletto next. And then, because you need to buy them all, we'll finish off with the Calypso Coral. Something like that. I think in the catalog they had their greeting over a little bit more to the left, something like that. And then they had like strawberry, strawberry, strawberry. So yeah, and I think this is going to look a little bit more interesting. It would be okay. It would look all kind of nice and coordinated if all the shoes were Calypso Coral, but this is definitely more fun because you need to get the shoe in every color. And now I'm just trying to decide. Yeah, the shoes are cute, aren't they, Brenda? If I want to pop up the shoes and the saying or just the saying, I think I'm gonna pop it all just because I can and because there's room. On my last card, my rock and roll card, I'm not going to be able to do all this popping up, but I can on this one. So here we go. There we go, polished pink. And Fresh Freesia going down. Oops. Should try and sort of keep that in place so I know where I reused some of my cardstock. You can see I had something stamped and written on the back of these shoes. Okay, like this. So, I don't know, something like that. And last one is the Calypso Coral. You do not have room for 4 shoes. Yeah, that's right, Emmy. Yeah, 4 would be tight. Well, I guess I could put 1 more on the inside. Hey, that's what I could do with some of these extras that I've cut out. That's a thought. All right, or put it onto the envelope, because it's always fun to have a little hint, a teaser on the outside of the envelope as to what's happening on the inside of the card. So now I'm going to, maybe these guys are going to be big, not too big. I was thinking that I needed to use the mini dimensionals, but oops, this works. There we go. Just a very tiny bit, like 1/8 of an inch at each end is going to show. Yeah, and I'm going to double pop this one up. So this one's going to have lots of dimension. Okay, so here's, it's kind of hard when your piece is so small and your fingers are covering it up there we go. And then I'm going to do more dimensionals here. Now, in the catalog, there is some trim, that metallic trim, and I'm going to use that on my next card. I don't have any right close by, any trim that I might, well, let's see, what do I have? Whoops. There, well, I'll go like this for now. Life is short. Buy the shoes. I was going to say I don't have any trim, but I do have my open weave ribbon. Really close. Really close. So there's the polished pink. Ooh, wow. I might just leave this for now. I might do some thinking about it. There's the well, yeah, I'm going to think about the trim and maybe come back and add something to this card. But this is the Buy the Shoes card, the gist of it anyways. Did the stamping of the shoes and the words just with my Memento Black
ink pad. And here we're gonna put this one on the inside just to have a little bit of shoe fun there as well. There. Okay, so number 1 done. Buy the shoes. And it's like, this is really bright. This is so busy and bright, a lot probably busier and brighter than I normally make for cards. But that's the fun thing about trying something from the catalog and trying an idea that's new, that might take me out of my comfort zone. Okay, card number 2 is drink the coffee. I had to think about it for a minute. Yes, no shoes, but butterflies, Inez, would be lovely. Yes. And like I'm showing you here, like it doesn't have to be shoes. The next one is going to be coffee. And I've pulled out the metallic mesh ribbon for this because they used that on the sample, and I'm going to try and figure out how I'm going to attach that. So here I've got my card base in the basic white thick, and I've got the 2-inch strip of designer paper and polished pink cardstock, just a bit of it peeking out from the back. And you're going to notice, if you're on page 43 of the catalog, or if you saw me show it to you earlier, it's the same designer paper that they used here with the strawberries. Now this paper, unfortunately, is not on sale. In fact, you can't even buy it. It is a host reward in the host section of our annual catalog. And I almost, like, to be honest, I almost missed this paper. And then I saw some other gals using it. It's like a mega pack. Lots and lots and lots and lots of paper. Tons of it. It's like 48 sheets. And with a $200 party or workshop, or if you're putting in a big order of your own, you can earn this as one of your host rewards. And so, yeah, you can see lots of colors and designs. I love these hearts, and I love this black and white check gingham. It kind of reminds me of like a cafe, like a checked tablecloth in a little cafe, which is why I thought it would work well for coffee. And then you can see on the back, there's lots of black and white designs on and the backs of them. It's like a really fun pack to play with. So keep that in mind. Host rewards. Okay, nothing's better than. So what I did was I took the same size of cardstock here, the 2.5 inch by 1 inch, and I stamped, "Today is a coffee kind of day." Now, the way this stamp set works is you kind of mix and match, so you can have the words saying different things depending on what what you need it or want it to say. And so I was just going to show you how I arranged those words onto the clear block. There it is. Today is a coffee kind of day. And I lined them up on my grid lines, and then I set my clear block on top and picked them up, inked them with the black pimento ink, and then stamped them, and they just fit onto this 2.5 by 1 inch piece. But you could make this bigger, because the coffee cups that I'm going to line up along here are quite a bit smaller. And so yeah, and I stamped the coffee cups in the outline in the tuxedo black, and then the fill-in part, that's this fill-in part here, I stamped with the polished pink to coordinate with the polished pink strip. So I think I'm going to do some popping again, just because I can. Always kind of makes it a little bit, adds a little bit of interest with all the dimension. Okay, so now can I do this and kind of center it with my fingers and thumbs in the way? Like, Something like that. I guess I could turn upside down and do it that way too. That might have been easier. Oh, not bad. Okay. And while we're popping things, I'll just pop a little bit more. Now, with this one, I was thinking I might do a little bit of a different approach to it. I might do 2 cups up and 1 cup down, as opposed to the 1 and 2. And I think I'm gonna offset my coffee cups just a little bit, because I think that makes it fun. Because, you know, the reason why lots of people drink coffee is because their day is kind of crazy and they've got lots to do. And so, yeah, that craziness of having to grab your coffee in the morning and make it through the day. Oh, thanks, Emmy. Yes, when I was doing this coffee card, I was thinking, oh, I bet you Emily will, if Emmy is watching tonight, she'll like the coffee card. I keep going back to this stamp set because I sure like it. It's it's one that's been fun for me to use. Now, I don't know exactly how they put the trim on in the catalog version. I'm just having to look a little bit more closely. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like kind of like they bunched it up in the middle or something. And I'm going to leave it long. And if I need to go in and give it a haircut and trim it off, I will do that. So I'm just going to take some glue dots and sticky it up in the middle. Make it all bunched and stickied, and put it down. Something like that. There. It does, this little silver accent does kind of go quite nicely with the black and white design on the paper. Did I take all those dimensionals off? Yeah, I think I did. There we go. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. It's maybe a little long. It's hanging off the edge of the card there a bit. There. And there. Something like that. Okay. The nice thing, I guess, about it too is because it's imperfect. It's got all these little lines of silver threads through it that are not perfect. Then you don't have to worry about getting it perfect on the card. I kind of like that. It doesn't have to be too fussy. So there we go. So card number 2 is the coffee kind of day. So we've got buy the shoes. Whoops. Buy the shoes. Drink the coffee. And our last card is going to be rock and roll. Okay. Rock and roll. So I'm going to be using for the rock and roll card the Dragonfly Garden stamp set. And some of you probably many of you have heard of the rock and roll technique, and it's been around for years and years. It's probably one of the very first few techniques that I learned to do when I started stamping, and that was before there ever was a die cutting machine or a big shot. And so I'll do a quick demonstration here of the rock and roll technique, but then my rock and roll dragonflies that are going to go on the card are already stamped and ready to go on. So I've chosen Misty Moonlight and Old Olive. And I find for the rock and roll technique, yes, back in the day, Karen, it was the idea book. Absolutely. Something else that Stampin' Up! Has told us as demonstrators is that the annual catalog has designs in it that are easier to replicate, easier to make and do. They want this this catalog to be kind of the jumping off point for stampers who are trying to go just beyond a kit and try something new. So there was my design from last week that I copied. Sometimes we say we cased it, copy and shared. And so they're trying to, the people who work at Stampin' Up! Corporate, were trying to make this publication a place where people could, jump off and take off and dive into this card making, and not just like I said, using a kit. The mini catalogs have designs that are much more complicated and intended for more of the avid stampers, people who want to get into it even more. So I love the mini catalogs, and there are sometimes amazing, beautiful card designs in there too, but the annual catalog I just find it's a really nice go-to for good basic card designs. Okay, so rock and roll. You want to start with the light color. So the lighter color in my mind is the olive green, and I'm going to ink the whole dragonfly with the olive green. Now I'll close that up. And I'm going to move to the darker color, Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to do the rock and roll part here. So basically, instead of stamping flat into the Misty Moonlight, I'm going to stamp the edge of the dragonfly wings, and then I'm going to roll around to the top of the dragonfly, and then roll around to the other edge of the wings, then roll to the bottom of his tail. And actually, I might roll back the other way. Wings, head, wings, tail. And whoa, you can see I got my block really inky. That's a hazard of the rock and roll technique, but that's okay because it's just on the block. And if you want to see what it looks like, there it is. Yeah, even, got lots of ink along the edges, but it's fun because then when you stamp it, you get a little bit of, well, it's not a rainbow effect, but you get the double color. You get the dark misty moonlight blue on the outer edges, and then you get the olive green in the middle. And if you want to do another rock and roll dragonfly, you have to clean your stamp and then start all over again with the light color first, and then rock around the edges with the dark color. Okie doke. So the next thing I did with my butterflies, no, they're not butterflies, they're dragonflies. Next thing I did with my dragonflies is I grabbed my Wink of Stella brush, glitter pen, and I think I think this Wink of Stella is just about done. I colored them in, and there you go. You can kind of see it starting to dissolve just a little bit of that blue. It's not only making them sparkly, but the color is bleeding just a little bit, but not very much because this is a dry brush. I need to open up a new package. So I did that to all three of my dragonflies. So sparkly dragonfly number 1 with rock and roll, sparkly dragonfly number 2, and there's number 3. Yeah, the sparklies might not be showing up so well for you. And this time I decided I was going to be brave. Instead of using basic white cardstock, I pulled out the Misty Moonlight cardstock, and the designer paper that I used for this particular card is some more that's on our 15% off sale. This is the Beauty of the Earth designer series paper. And so, yeah, I glued that down with a little edging of the olive. And these guys are pretty big, so I'm going to just glue them flat because I still want to be able to fit my words in over top. And so I'll make one dragonfly flying off in this direction, and then let's see, I'll make this one kind of going in a similar direction, sort of. Well, Yeah, maybe like that, maybe a little bit more like that. And then this one can go in this direction. 1, 2, I don't know what a bevy of dragonflies, that's a bevy of butterflies, isn't it? Okay, and then I've got the thank you for your kindness fit really nicely onto that 2.5 inch by 1 inch little piece. There we go, dimensionals. Oops, that one's... Okay, let's try it this way. Whoops. If we go, there's my 1 inch piece, and I'm going to lay this down centered. It's another way of looking at it and trying it. Oh, little crooked, but there we go. Okay. And we'll do some more popping with the dimensional adhesives. Now, I did not cut an extra sheet of Whisper or Basic White to go on the inside of my card, but I would because it's easier to write when there's that white layer on this darker cardstock. But you get the idea. And just looking to see if this kind of reminds me of spider webs. Maybe I'll put some of it on this card too, just because it's kind of the natural spider webby look. Guess you know what I'll be making tomorrow. Oh, good. You've got some ideas to get you going. And that's why I do my mystery card challenge on Mondays and my tutorial on Tuesday, is just to give people ideas using some of their basic papers and stamps, something that they can make at home with those. There we go. Oh, I feel like I'm not showing, this is not showing up as, there we go. I don't have as much of the metallic mesh showing as much on this one, but that's okay. There we go. All right. So yeah, 3 different cards, but basically the same pattern. You can definitely, this is definitely a doable card design. And so buy the shoes, drink the coffee, and rock and roll. Try that out. It works. This rock and roll technique works better for some designs than others. Some stamps work really well with it, others not so well. An outline design doesn't work as well as one that's got more filled in kinds of details on it. But yeah, I hope you get a chance to have some fun with your supplies and try this out. Oh, thanks so much, guys. Okay. Oh, you love the swarm of dragonflies. That's what it is, Elaine. Yes, I need to go now and put the card challenge ladies' names into the wheel picker and the wheel of names, and have the wheel pick out a winner, big winner chicken dinner for the Mystery Card Monday Challenge. And again, if you're not part of my VIP group, put in Stamp Ventures VIP and request to join. And if there's anything that you're needing in terms of stamp supplies, paper crafting supplies, pretty papers, whatnot, I'm right here in Canada. For all of those of you who are Canadians, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to help you out. And I thank you so much for spending some time with me this evening. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.